Hey guys, this is your heads up to this longer PDU, Personal Development Unplugged podcast with me, Paul Cloughie. Yeah, it does go on. It does go on in a good way. It's all about finding your passion. So many people talk about it. So many people give you weird ways of supposedly being able to do it within minutes, secrets. I'm going to talk about that. But this is something that you can really work with and find your passions. In fact, this is quite a long podcast, so you're really going to have to concentrate and focus. And there's a part 2 that follows with all the how-tos. But there's work to be done here before you listen to part 2. So get that pen and paper out and really commit to finding your passions.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Cloughie. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hi guys, Paul here. Paul Cloughie from Personal Development Unplugged and The Elusive Passion. That's what I've called this episode, The Elusive Passion. Admit it. I know I do. We all have to admit, I guess, that we would all love to do or follow our passion and have it in everything we do. If we could, we would, wouldn't we? And that's that thing. And also, I've mentioned in the past, and we've discussed before, the selling of the thing. Find your passion. Find it in 3 secret moves. Find it in 5 minutes. I'll teach you to do it in 5 minutes. The secret that no one ever told you about following and finding your passion. And yeah, there's a few good things in there, but nearly they're all bullshit. They're all aimed at getting clickbait to sell you something. And it doesn't work. Well, put it this way. I don't think it works because you can't sell it. Not in that way. And you can't sell it in secret moves. You can't sell it in 5 minutes. Because a lifetime of passion is putting your life into the passion and finding it within you. And it's not secret. And it's not supposed to be clickbait, I don't think. But maybe clickbait has gone by. I don't know. I don't think it has. You look at a few things around. It's still there, isn't it? Anyway, before I do that, I wonder, would it be important to you to just, me and you, discuss about how you could follow your passion, how you could find it in 3 secret moves? No, Paul, no, not 3 secret moves at all. I think it would be nice just to explore it, wouldn't it? Just between you and I. So let's go back to what I was saying. For years, I've been teaching that as we get older, that yearn for following your passion starts way back in your childhood. Starts way back in your teenage years. And when I say it starts there, what I'm trying to say is that's where you find it. You find it back in the places in your childhood, in the places where you enjoyed things in your teenage years. And we're going to discuss that. That's where you and I can expand upon this just the way we can muse over it, I guess. You see, a little while ago, I was listening to people talk about various things, and they mentioned this guy, Richard Green. Richard Green? Paul. It's Robert Greene. Great writer, done lots of things, and he has a book called Mastery. And guess what? The knob was how to find your passion. Well, to look back in your childhood. Yay, we've been validated again. Or, if nothing else, the processes and the thoughts that we have here have been validated again. We're not talking about that BS of the secret moves and the 5 minutes and the secret that no one's ever told you about. Because it's that secret that's hiding in plain sight. You know it, you just don't know you know it. And that's why I said, this is important. We have to admit it. We would all, at some point, at some time, love to follow our passion and have it in everything we do, if we could. Well, the thing is, you can, but it's not something I don't think that you suddenly just switch on. That passion is within you and you find it. The things that you do create passion in you or ignites that passion that you have. It's ready to be ignited. It's like a little candle, a little flame that when you just give it a little bit more air, it starts to burn brighter. And it's finding that air, the things that will create that combustion to make things really, come alight. So let's look at it in a different way. Let's look at the pain and the pleasure. We always say everything is either pain or pleasure. We go away from pain and we move towards pleasure. And to a large degree, I agree with that. I don't think you always have to have pain. I prefer that just going towards pleasure. But sometimes we need to just examine what pain might be. So we do know what we'll be going away from. In some ways, I don't like away froms, but at least we know what's there. So let's think pain. Good old pain when we think of not following our passions. And this is where I want you to use your imagination. Your imagination, imagineering. Imagine this. Never quite finding your passion. Shit, don't like that. But let's go even deeper. Just, not just imagine, because that's a fairly, so generalized. It's a bit difficult to do, isn't it? Just imagine a life without passion. But imagine not finding that passion in your career. The thing you do for a third of your waking day, if you're working, that is. Maybe more than a third of your waking day. A lot of people work a lot harder than that. And imagine doing that without finding your passion, without feeling passion and passionate about the things that you do. Just imagine what that might be like at the end of your life. Thinking, I spent nearly probably a third of my life doing stuff that really didn't light my fire. Occasionally it did, but, it never really happened. That's bad, isn't it? That is bad. In the bad sense, not in the bad sense. What about your goals? We've talked about professional goals. Even within that career, you might find your career is good, but the actual goals within that career, the progression, if you don't find passion in that, what would that feel like? Woo. What about personal goals? We talk about here in Personal Development Unplugged, so much is a personal goal. It doesn't have to be the big things. It's the goal of improving ourselves in all different areas of our life. They're all goals, but just doing them by rote, that's just a bland way of living, because I don't really think you're improving yourself if you're not enjoying it. So what about your personal goals? Maybe they would be less if you didn't find that passion. We'll go into the pleasure in a minute. Just think of that though. Not having any passion in your personal life, the life outside of your career. Think of your relationships. If you didn't find passion in your relationships, if you weren't following your passion, or you weren't bringing your passion for life from your professional, your personal side, your career, all that stuff into relationships, would it be there? What would your relationships be like? What about your hobbies? And that's when I say hobbies, the things you just enjoy doing. If you just do them because you feel you have to, or you're doing them but you're never quite enjoying it, what would happen? What would it feel like? What pain would that be? Basically, just living a life on that flat line. Woo, that's down, isn't it? Whoa, I didn't like it. Just even talking about it, because even talking about it, I have to go into my own mind. Believe it or not, I do go into my own mind before I speak or as I speak. And I could feel my own personal pain, thinking, I don't want to go here. You see, imagine floating out into the future and not having found your passion, not having experienced true passion before you die. Oh, that'd be like, wow, Jesus, we're going to stop. We're going to stop right now. There's pain and there's pain. We don't need to know that, because it hasn't happened. It won't happen if we start to do things that are going to find this passion for us, reignite our passion. So let's just stop that, because that's what we can do though, just to know. See, we haven't actually gone away from anything. We've just said, what would it be like if? Because sometimes we need to shock our unconscious mind. We have to break this pattern. It's called a pattern interrupt of this just mediocre life. And we want to raise the bar and then raise it again. Because there's another side of this, isn't there? What side is that, Paul? The bit I said, pain and pleasure. Now here's the bit where I really want you to imagine. Imagine this. Put your Imagineering, the Disney Imagineering hat on. Imagine if you find that feeling of being fully passionate in your career. What would that be like? If everything you did at work, in your career, you had so much passion pumping through your veins, what difference would that make? What difference would that make just to your own mental health, your physical health? What would it make What difference would it make, rather, to the people around you, to your results, to your progression in your career, to the way you interact? What would that be like? What would it be like if you just imagine now that every one of your goals, you are so passionate about the result, and you put in every ounce of that passion because this is the right goal. This goal brings out the passion in you, this passion that's deep inside your soul, to get your heart pumping, to get you breathing in that wonderful, excited way of just smiling without knowing you're smiling. What would happen to those goals? Think of them on the professional side, linking it back to your career. What would happen to those thoughts that you have of how you're going to progress through your career? Maybe, you're an entrepreneur and you have things that you want to do for the world. What would happen when you hit it with that amount of passion? Even the things that get in your way, you'd be able to deal with them because you're so passionate about the result, passionate about what you do. How much energy would you have? Think about it now. If we go back to that old pain thing, where was our energy? It was down. It was like this. When we're talking about putting passion into our goals and enjoying every moment, our energy is so high, and it doesn't take energy to have this type of high energy. What would it be like? Imagine this again. Imagine your personal goals. Think of all the different contexts in your life, your health. How would they be when you've got total passion and you're bringing all that passion from all that other stuff and you're thinking about your health? What would you do? How would you be? How fit would you be? How healthy would you be? What type of things would you be doing and enjoying every moment of it? Enjoying the improvement, wouldn't you? Because you'd see the improvement. People would tell you the improvement. What about your hobbies? Those things that you do on the side and you were doing them with total passion. What would the results be? Even if, they don't have to be world beaters because they're just our hobbies, the things that we enjoy doing, but would be enjoying them with total passion. How deep would you go? How good would you get? What type of things would you be doing differently when you have that much passion? And think about those relationships, the relationships at work, when you have total passion in what you do and you have total passion about those people. What about that you're socializing when you're just so passionate about being there with your friends? How would you listen with passion? How would you exchange your energy with passion? How much enjoyment would you get out of that? And then think of those intimate relationships when you're living that intimate relationship with total passion. And because everything else you do has total passion, how would that make you be different? And when you look at them all, you can just keep. What would happen? It'd be like a cycle, wouldn't it? Because each one would cycle into the next. So everything you're passionate about at work would affect you the way you want to be in your life. So you'd probably be healthier. You'd eat healthier. You'd go to the gym or run or row or get a bike. But you'd probably do it in that relationship as well. And because of that, your hobbies, your personal socializing would be so much richer, which would make you a person that when you go to your career, you'll be that. Well, it just keeps growing, wouldn't it? So upward cycle. And you'll never know, as we always say here, how far the ripples of that passion would go. I don't say passion, we say the ripples of change. But you don't know because your friends would get the benefit of it. The people you socialize with, your colleagues would get the benefit of it. That would make you feel really good, wouldn't it? And in those intimate relationships, what would happen then? So I want you just to start to think about all of that put together now. Allow it to spin round and round. And as you do, what would you see? What type of things would you see now when you have that full passion? What would you hear? What would be your inner voice? How would you speak to yourself? What would you start to attract when you're like that? What opportunities would come your way when you're like that? And probably you couldn't imagine them at the moment, but you can start to imagine them right now and feel it. You can stop if you want, but I'm going to suggest just for the next few moments that you really feel it and know this is available to you. And the thing is, when you just think of that pleasure that we've just been talking, you and I have been talking about, imagining about, what would happen if you kept coming back to that? If you spent just a minute a day thinking of all the things how they would be when you're totally passionate and they fueled and fired more passion. If you did that every day for 1 minute, what would happen? It's an easy answer, really, isn't it? But it's an answer that you can't really answer because it'd be so good. To me, it would be anyway. It'd be so good that it would just keep getting better and better. And even when shit happens, because it will, because that's life sometimes, you just deal with it. Or you wouldn't notice it half the time because you haven't got that pain side. Everything is okay. What would your positive beliefs be? They'd be so, well, they're so positive, I guess. Of course they would. But here's the thing. It's your choice. It always comes back to your choice. Because you see, you've got to choose. Because you can do either of these. You can live in that pain, or you can begin to find those things that give you pleasure, give you passion, and then that passion will grow. Now to me, because you're still listening to me, I'm going to guess you're still imagining that pleasure and what could happen and those opportunities. What would it be like? It's like having something that you can't quite hold, I guess. But because you're still here, I guess that choice is this. It's a no bloody brainer, isn't it? A no brainer. I know. See, it's simple. It is so simple. Remember Einstein, and one of the main things that we talk about here at Personal Development Unplugged. In simplicity, there's genius. But just because it's simple doesn't mean to say it's easy. If it was easy, everyone would be living in their passion. Is it easy to live in pain? Fucking right it is. It doesn't take, and it just saps your energy. You have to do things for yourself. You have to make choices. You become the cause of the effects. So when you choose to look for pleasure, look for passion, then you'll find it. But we will need to know how to, I guess. How and where to look, I guess, is the thing that I'm talking about. So before we know the how, though, I think it's really important that we have some type of understanding. Why haven't we done this before? If it's so bloody simple, Cloughie, even though it's maybe not hard, but it's simple, why haven't we done it before? Well, I had to think about this for myself because I was thinking, we really need to get to the crux of this. So I racked my brains, and when I start looking with the right questions, it seems to be the answers comes up. Now, I don't know about you, but one of the reasons we don't do passion, which it seems such a silly thing to say, is through fear. What if I fail? Yeah, it's going to bring me great joy, but if I fail, that's going to hurt. What about failing at something you're passionate about? You can hurt with passion then, can't you? And when it hurts, or you fear it may hurt, then you tend to pull away, don't you? And what happens to that fear? It then turns into anxiety, or the anxiety turns into fear. They're like interlinked, aren't they? So you've got this fear of anxiety of, yeah, I really want to do the things that I think are going to cause me to feel so good. But if I do fail, then I failed at the stuff I want to be passionate at. And it's like your unconscious mind is saying, well, I'm going to protect you from that hurt. Because there's always a positive intention. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. But there's a positive intention, I guess, from your unconscious mind saying, well, I'm going to make you anxious. I'm going to make you fearful. Because if you're really going to do this, you've got to do it really well. But that puts so much pressure on, and it's overwhelming. And if it does hurt, well, I want to stop. I don't want to feel that hurt. Then we've got that fear of anxiety where, well, I've never done it before. Well, we think we haven't. But the whole point of this is, yes, you have. You see, one clear indication is that you've done it before is because you know what passion feels like. When we just went through what would it be like to have passion in your career, your relationships, your goals, your personal life, your socializing, those intimate relationships, you knew how it felt. So you must have experienced it before to know what it feels like. So you have done it before. It's just that we're not accessing those things that give us that feeling of passion. And it's just this thing that teams up, I guess, with that fear of anxiety. Because if I don't think I've done it before, that'll make sure I don't do it, which will make sure I don't get hurt. Then we've got those limiting beliefs, and they come from all different sides of our past. The limiting beliefs such as, well, I don't deserve it, or I'm not worthy or worth it. They're all just under the surface. I don't know enough. None of this just makes sense, but it's there again, because if you really believe that you don't deserve it, or you really believe that you're not worthy or worth it, or if you really believe that not knowing enough doesn't allow you to start, it adds to that fear, that anxiety that stops you doing it, that stops you getting hurt when you fail at doing it. If you could fail at doing passion, because you've done it before, you just haven't looked in the right places this time. You see, if you have any of that fear, that anxiety, I wouldn't be serving you if I didn't tell you about this right now. Do you suffer from not being confident enough? What's it like? What's it like when you feel unconfident about things, when you worry about things? And what would it be like if that carried on? It would be a bummer, wouldn't it? And there's no reason for it to be that way, because you could, if you choose, to have confidence in yourself, to sing from your real voice, to know that you're aligned with what you want and you're competent and confident to have it. That's what you could do if you decided to. Sometimes though, you need a bit of help to let go of that unconfidence, because you need to learn about it, learn from the root cause of that unconfidence, what created it, how you decided to be unconfident, what was the positive intent, and then find all the resources that you have inside you to actually become confident again. How do you do that? Well, funny enough, Cloughie, you have made a program for this, haven't you? Yes, I have. It's called Supreme Inner Confidence. Inner confidence is just, well, it's supreme, isn't it? When you are totally confident in who you are, singing from your own voice, shining, showing up, being who you really are. And that's what this program will do. It will take you from your unconfident state and create with 6 very special hypnosis tracks and 3 videos. It will create in you a newfound confidence, more than the old confidence you had in different areas of your life that have seemed to have disappeared, but it's going to create the confidence that you desire. If that's something that you'd like to explore, go to paulcloughonline.com/confidence. Have a watch of the video, read the words, but better than that, it's a money back guarantee. So you've got nothing to lose other than your unconfidence. So why not just take a little bit of the confidence that you used to have and go with it. Come with me on that adventure of creating who you really are supposed to be. Because if you don't want to work with me in person, work with me with the specially designed hypnosis tracks. Enjoy every heartbeat, because you can when you become supremely inner confident. There you go. Free your life from anxiety. Get supreme inner confidence. As I said in there's a total guarantee, money back guarantee. You can't lose anything. Can't lose anything. But the whole point of this is there's a positive intention to protect us from all those negative feelings. But here's the real rub, and this is where the conflict comes in. The conflict comes in because when you're not living your life through passion or with passion, through fear, anxiety, through those limiting beliefs, what does it feel like? Well, I feel like a failure. I feel that hurt. I feel like I'll never do it again. I feel like I don't deserve it. I feel I'm not worthy of it. And it's everything that your unconscious mind is trying to protect you from. That's a conflict. By trying to protect you from that hurt, you're feeling that hurt. That's why this is not working. And where did our unconscious mind learn this? From past experiences. When we tried something and supposedly failed. Now, the only reason I say supposedly failed is because we feel it was a failure and it hurt because we didn't learn from that experience. And that's what it was, because at the time way back then, your unconscious mind had just a small amount of wisdom, a small amount of experience. So with that experience and wisdom that it had way back then, it did the only thing it could do to protect you, which is to pull you back, to give you that fear. Because at that particular time, it worked. Because it was the only thing it could do, and it worked. But here's the thing. Over this period of a lifetime that you have right up to now, your unconscious mind hasn't learnt from all those experiences that you've had since then. It just hasn't. And if it did, it would be able to find results. But because it hasn't, it does the same thing over and over again, creating more fear, more anxiety, more intense fear, more intense anxiety. It creates those limiting beliefs to make sure you don't do it. And that's all it is. It's that fear of failure. And the thing is, once your unconscious mind recognizes that conflict, which it can begin to now, And if I was to speak to your unconscious mind as if you were my client, I just ask you, the unconscious mind, to notice. Notice what you're doing no longer works. It doesn't support that positive intention, because the positive intention to keep you safe is exactly what we want. And if you were to imagine something again, imagine that feeling of pleasure, that feeling of passion when you were doing things that you were so passionate about, and that wonderful good feeling. How safe were you? Well, the answer to that is, I don't know, Paul, because I didn't feel unsafe. Well, if you didn't feel unsafe, you were totally safe. How hurt were you? I wasn't hurt. Of course I wasn't hurt. I was feeling passion. You see, that feeling of passion and doing things that you're passionate about, there are no failures. You just go, oh, that didn't work. I'll do it differently. Oh, look at these wonderful opportunities coming to me. Oh, I'm going to do those because you're passionate about it. You don't think of failure. The limiting beliefs are no longer there. Because you think about the beliefs you have when you're acting with true passion, it's everything that supports you. Everything. And I've said this before about when I was younger, I used to love art. I always wanted to be an artist for the Marvel comics and I'll say that word again, for the Marvel comics. But over a period of time, other people's limiting beliefs got into me. You'll never make it. You're not good enough. There's too much competition out there. Things just won't work out. So many other people fail. They weren't my beliefs, but I took them on. And I do sometimes wonder back, what would happen if I'd have just said, no, I'm going to follow that passion. One of those things. But hey, it's a life. We're doing other things now. I'm talking to you. How good is that? But you can see how these things come from the past. But you see, I want to do a couple of things. I just want to talk about, we've talked about this conflict. I want you, the unconscious mind, to recognize that conflict and notice you can protect them in another way, protect them in a better way, keep them away from hurt by having passion. But before we go into the real hows, let's just reframe something. What if we did follow and find our passion? What would happen if you did and you followed it in a way that you could never fail and you can never be hurt? If you had the resources to feel good and learn. Remember that feeling we talked about of having total passion and all that stuff? It felt safe, doesn't it? Just feels safe, feels good. You know that would be a better way. We're not talking about the best way. We're just talking another way. What would happen, though, if we learnt from the past and we understood from the past the resources that we had back then that we enjoyed? What would happen if we accessed them? And not just the past, where way back in the past, through all of your past, starting from now going backwards. If we were able to access all the positive things you've ever done in your life, in any context, because we can move them around from context to context, what would be better? What would be better? Would it be okay to be able to protect ourselves with you, my unconscious mind, to live a life of passion and never get hurt? How would that feel compared to the hurt I feel not following my passion? Yay. I think, again, we've gone down a little bit, bringing the energy up. It's a no-brainer, I think. So I want your unconscious mind to take this on board. There's a conflict going. What you're doing now doesn't work. And as an unconscious mind, your prime directive is to keep us safe and keep us healthy. And when things hurt, it doesn't help us in a healthy way, in a healthy body or a healthy mind. It just doesn't work. So you've got to stop. Stop doing that and find a better way. And what one better way is using passion. Simples. So a simple way, a very simple way, but a highly effective way. A bit like Robert Greene was saying, and as we've been saying, look into the past, into your childhood. What we did back in those days, we would enjoy things without any thought of what it really means, I guess. We didn't have plans that this is going to lead to this and then they lead to that. We just did things because it didn't matter. It was just for pure enjoyment, because that's what we did. We didn't have the worries of the world on our shoulders way back then. Well, I hope we didn't. So how do you do that? Well, I love mind mapping, but mind mapping in any way, shape or form, because Tony Buzan wrote the book and I guess invented mind mapping. And there's some great books written by him and I think his brother showing all manner of different mind maps. But whichever way you choose, it'll work. For me, I just do a lovely little cloud sign in the middle of a page, normally an A4 book opened up, so it's like A3, and right in the middle of it, just like I've done here, the elusive passion, in my notes here. But I go, what are the things I enjoyed when I was a child? That one maybe I'd write in the middle. What? Because I just got enjoyed. And I'd begin to think. So you have to set a little bit of time aside, I guess, where you're not going to be interrupted. You know, it's a sort of deep dive. Nice bit of music on maybe a little bit of incense. I don't know. Something to just get your mind to focus. And then just think and ask your unconscious mind, well, what type of things did I really enjoy when I was a child? And as you come to one, you can either just write them down and you can always draw a line to them. And each one you might get another line. Well, when I was doing that, what did I enjoy about that? And you'd be able to build upon each one to find out all the different things that just gave you simple, pure enjoyment. And if you can, as I say, as you get one, just say, well, what did I particularly enjoy? What enjoyment did I get from that? What were the type of things I did when I was doing that? And you do little lines off that. So you build like a mini mind map off the main topic. And you'll start to build them up. And the more you ask and the more you do it uncritically, because you don't think, oh, well, I'm not sure. You just put it down. Write these things down. And each one as you do it, you can't help but feel that feeling again. And then do the same again for teenage years. What are the things I really enjoyed doing in my teenage years? What was I passionate about? Because we tended to get a bit more passionate about things. We followed things with more passion. What were they? And when you do those, you've got your center circle. You sent them, for me, my center cloud. What was I passionate about in my teenage years? And I'll have something, maybe it was art. What was it about art? Well, I loved doing the printing. I loved doing pen and ink. Oh, I loved pencil drawing. What did I get about that? Well, it was just a freedom to do this. Maybe I loved, whatever it was. Maybe it was reading. What did I get out about reading? Well, I made pictures in my mind. It took me to different places. It got me to feel different things. So there would be like the subtext, the sublines from each one. And just explore them without having to do anything. We're not doing anything with it at the moment. We're just exploring those places in our past where we had enjoyment, and that enjoyment led to passion. And again, they were just things that we did. Could have been meeting people, absolutely anything. And just keep asking the question to your unconscious mind, what else? To you, my unconscious mind, what else did I feel passion and pleasure doing in my teenage years, in my childhood years? What did I enjoy doing? Who did I enjoy doing things with? What were we doing then? What was the pleasures I got? And you see, what you're doing is, with each one of those, for a start, I would then come back and look at each one again and go, let me just go through each one in my mind. Could I go back there now? Just little snippets, and feel that pleasure, feel that passion. You know, it's like just a fresh passion. There was no issues around it, just pure passion. And as you do, and as you go back there, see what you saw and hear what you heard, you'd feel that passion again, feel that enjoyment, and anchor them in a special way. Touch a place in your body, such as a fingertip, a knuckle, the same one, each time. So every time you think about it and you feel that passion, anchor it to that same place. So you really get to anchor in just what passion is about. Simple anchoring. But using now this simple thing to really understand and do different things. Then I want you just to look at that mind map again and say, well, you know, just what was I really enjoying? What was the real special part of that? If I could just focus it down. What was this is the word I was thinking about and didn't come to my mind. What was the essence of that passion? And when you understand that, just press that same knuckle as well. So you're then adding the information to that anchor. Now then, Here's the thing. We've been going on for some time now, and if you want to have another bit of hypnosis for passion, go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast, sign up, and you get all the hypnosis tracks. And one of them, hashtag 133.1, is all about finding your passion. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop because it's quite a long podcast, and we're going to have a part 2 of how we can take that mind map and do different things with it. How we can then start to look at different things in our life that will start to recreate that passion, give you more passion. I think if you're still here now, but I think your unconscious mind is going to start doing some of that work already. So when you come back to the part 2, then we'll go a little bit deeper of how to find those passions. There you go. I told you right at the very beginning, this isn't 3 secret moves. This isn't finding your passion in 5 minutes. It's not a secret that no one's told you. It's a secret in hiding in plain sight, because you can do this. It's simple, but it takes effort. It's not just, I know all of this. I know. If you knew all of this, then you'd already done it. Knowledge without action is absolutely nothing. No swearing. Well, not a little bit of swearing. It's bullshit. Just knowing stuff without doing it, you might as well not know it. It makes no difference to your life. And it makes no difference to your life, then that's it. But when you start to do this type of work, when you start to feel passionate about doing this type of work, that's what it's all about. That's what Personal Development Unplugged is here to ignite. Anyway, that's it for now. Come back to part 2. Have a think about this. Go and do those mind maps. That's the main thing. Do the mind maps. So when we're ready for part 2, we're ready to rock and roll. Have more fun than you can stand and get real passionate. I mean, a long time ago when I used to listen to the old little tapes from Tony Robbins, I loved the way he finished them off. It was always with this one sentence: live with passion. That's all there is to it. When we live with passion, everything is bright. Everything just feels so bloody good. Anyway, until next time, this is Paul Clough from Personal Development Unplugged. Please do listen to the last part, because I do want you to share this. I do want you to subscribe, and I do want you to leave me comments, and I do want you to give a review. Remember, if there's any, just as a quick thing, if there's any takeaways you've got from this, or you want to get in touch with me to get some more stuff onto the podcast, so an episode to take it even deeper, please email me at feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Okay? Please do listen to this last bit. It really is important. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now. Just before you go, if you've just got a second or two, please have a listen. Why don't you share this? Share this podcast with just one person today, and then one person tomorrow, and one person after that. What would happen if we all did that? And why not subscribe? It's so easy to do. Find the platform of your choice. If it's iTunes or it's Castbox or any others, there's loads of them. Search for either Paul Clough or Personal Development Unplugged, and then there's a big subscribe button. Press that subscribe button, and it'll be there. You get the podcast twice a week, on a Wednesday and a Saturday. Never have to look any further. And if you would, why not put one of those reviews up? Because that would be awesome, because that just moves it around this integrated field of learning, as it were, and becomes and gets in front of other people. Which is what we want, isn't it? To be the change we want to see in others and help others change to be the change they want to see in themselves. There you go. I'm going to speak to you real soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Have fun. Enjoy every heartbeat.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.